record meeting. Hi everyone. Happy to see all of you, and welcome back to today's session organized by VODAN Africa and Asia. My name is Putu Hadi, and I will put the agenda today in the chat box. Okay. As always, try to keep our mic muted during presentation to prevent background noises. And if you have a question during the presentation, you can raise your hand or type them into the chat box. And now I will hand over to Professor Miriam to lead the session. So Professor Miriam, the floor is yours.
Well, it is a great pleasure to see everybody here and so many countries. I know that a lot of people came back from some sort of holiday. It's good to see Mariam back. There was also Dr. Wondimo, who is back. I see some people of his team, Desta, Ephraim, this is good. Dr. Jamal had moved from all the way from Garowe to Amsterdam. He's very close now to Leiden. It's good to see him back. Professor Francesca is never on holiday, but she was working in some very remote areas. Very, very good to have her back. So very pleased. It's good to see Dr. Gejan back after some time. So this is good because we need to make a lot of progress in the coming period, and it is very wonderful to see everybody. Also would like to introduce, I think he has been introduced, I don't know, my colleague Eric Flickenschild. Eric is my colleague from Leiden University Medical Center. He's a very important person there. And it's a great honor to have you here, Eric. He is the head of all the IT and innovation, but now he's even more important because he has joined the team of Go Fair together with Bet and Barend and everybody. So, of course, LUMC and Go Fair, they are neighbors, literally, even the buildings are next to each other. I've got a new room and when I look down of my window, I see Go Fair and I can wave to Eric. Eric, it's good to see you here.
Yeah, thank you for your nice words, Miriam. I'm looking forward to work together in this very exciting project and program as VODAN Asia is.
Well, thank you. And Eric is involved in a lot of innovation around FAIR. So we are also very lucky to have you here and to make all the necessary connection. Already you're working with a lot of people in different compositions, Putu, Ruduan, Yelene, etc. So thanks for coming. So with that, I wish everybody a very, very good session today. And over to you, Putu.
Okay, thanks, Professor Miriam. I will now start the first agenda. It is about the update of the health facilities communication. So let me share my screen. As always, we have a discussion yesterday. So basically, I continue what is our discussion on last Wednesday, and all of the country coordinator were in the meeting, and I explained about where we are now and also what is the next step of that. So previously we have a question topic list. And also now we have a passport of the general overview, but I'm still in progress with that. And we will move to the next agenda. It is but still we are in finishing phase of the general overview of the health facilities. But we are moving to now. We go to the next step. It is dashboard overview. So we want to know dashboard requirement. So we need to know is internal dashboard requirement, external dashboard requirement, and summary of the requirement. So basically that we discussed about the second step, and also I explained about because Mariam finished her vacation. So I explained her about the interoperability identification, and also I will follow Abdullahi about this. And I explained about the dashboard discussion, and we have 2 rounds of discussion, but we have 3 type of questions that we need to ask to the health facilities, and these 3 health facilities selected, but I'm still waiting for a Gerjan update about the involving of CEDAR Med in the project, so we are still waiting. But
Maybe,
yesterday,
Putu, just sorry to interrupt, but
yes.
maybe we can just take an update, because there have been consultations in Zimbabwe between Professor Mawere Kuda and Dr. Bernard, and then there have also been consultations with Dr. Gretjan. So maybe it is the good moment to also hear from them both. Maybe Dr. Bernard, I can request you for some update on Zimbabwe, please.
Thank you, Prof. I just wanted to say we had a good discussion, the 3 of us, Prof. Mawere and Kudakwashe, and myself too, with regards to the progress as far as the health facilities are concerned. What we have resolved is that we are going to use the Great Zimbabwe clinics, and Prof. Mawere has started spearheading the exercise to make sure that clearance has been obtained, and he said he was going to talk to you, Prof, with regards to that issue, and to update you about the issue and how we can address sticking points that were pending, especially on matters that concerns the political atmosphere. But he has said that we are going to resolve that matter, and by using the GZU, the Great Zimbabwe University Health Facilities, it will now be easy, and we are no longer going to request clearance from the ministry and all other things, but from the GZU. And life has been made easier for that a breakthrough has been made to make sure that we kickstart, and we will be at the same wavelength with other colleagues and other countries. Right. So at this juncture, we are waiting to hear from Prof. Mawere, and to see the progress that he has made. And I think he will update you before end of this week as far as how he has gone with the matter.
Yeah. I have received the updates actually, and I have sent him all the ethical clearances and so on. So yeah, I think that can be very positive. Thank you for reporting that, Dr. Bernard. Great news. And then Dr. Gretjan, maybe you can also update. This is just to also clarify, in many countries we have co-leads. For instance, Nigeria, we always have Professor Sakinat and Professor Ibrahim. It's a very big country. The same for Ethiopia, we have Dr. Wondimo and Dr. Araya. So often we have north, south. If like in the Netherlands now, we only have LUMC, which is kind of, we are just literally neighbors. But as soon as you have bigger places to cover, then it also makes sense that you have different approaches all at the same time. And the experiences are so good. Everybody is really working together very well in all of those places. So Dr. Gretjan, we also discussed some of the interest that you had also brought to our attention.
Yes, good afternoon again. Yeah, throughout the process and the project, became clear that there are many facets to the work. You know, platform work, services work, and how the interventions are. And we have been approached several times on support, for instance, on backup procedures and all kinds of technical stuff. In that respect, I have been a volunteer at SolidarMed for quite a while, and SolidarMed has quite a portfolio of e-health services. So in a change of leadership there, I brought it to the attention yesterday of SolidarMed that there could be potential need and room to provide for technical expertise, also from the Zimbabwean perspective, to facilitate the process. Where there's quite a center at SolidarMed. The SolidarMed has, who are, you know, in charge with quite some medical institutes also in the further Masvingo province and with the government, has expressed an interest to be participating in the process. So I think that the meeting is going to be held within a week or so to hammer out what SolidarMed can contribute. That's Dr. Manhibi and the new country coordinator. And they have expressed interest to participate in the project and also facilitate a strong presence from Zimbabwe, whatever we can do. And there's a lot of technical expertise, especially in computer science there. And that could be availed to VODAN.
I also realized that it means that we will have not only 3 Mariams, but also 2 Kudakwashis in the team. So that
Yes.
sounds like a good progress. So Putu, that means that if you can perhaps attend that meeting that is being planned with that SolidarMed team, they were offering maybe to be in the pilot. So that can be discussed then next week. I have responded to that email, so I'll keep you posted, Putu. Sorry for the interruption, but I thought it was better to clarify where we are.
Okay, no worries, Prof. Thanks, Prof. Miriam and Dr. Gerjan and Dr. Bernard for your. Sorry. So in yesterday meeting, Dr. Ibrahim also raised a question, Professor Miriam, but I think we need to discuss it on Wednesday. It is about the criteria, and also Ephraim asked about this, the criteria of the pilot project, and also the other problems such as power sources. Dr. Ibrahim discussed about that yesterday. So we should, I think, on country coordinators meeting, we need to address about the criteria and also check how's the requirement from Alia to implement the project.
Yeah, it is good
sorry.
that you do that. And I had just contact with Dr. Reginald because unfortunately the country coordinators meeting for tomorrow cannot take place. But now it's very good that you had in fact the same yesterday, which is really the progress that needed to be made. So that is good. I would not emphasize the whole issue of the pilot too much because your exercise from slide 6, you need to organize with everybody. So if you make the pilot too lengthy and it is taking weeks, then we are very much behind. So the point of the 3 or 4 pilot institutions is that, first of all, you do a quick trial there. You take the feedback from whether the questions work. They don't work, you adapt them, and then you take them to all of the 84 facilities. I don't expect the country coordinators to do that. I expect the people from your team in the health facilities to do it. The only reason why we also bring it to the country coordinators is that we want all the country coordinators to understand the work in relation to the health facilities, the work in relation to the technical team, the deployment, so that all of that comes together, and that we also look at the tools before they go to 84 health facilities. So the process is you, a technical lead, prepares something, before we deploy, we make sure it is tested, like Aliyah will also report on her testing today. So your testing is in those 4 pilot places. Then as soon as they have done that, it shouldn't take very long. It should be a matter of a few hours to do that. They report back. And then from there on, once you have that back from the 3 or the 4 facilities, you set it out for all of the 84 health facilities. That is the logic of it. Is that clearer? Putu?
Yes, Prof. Actually, we discussed about the 6 and 7 slide yesterday. So I discussed with the field person about the dashboard discussion, and there is no problem about that.
Yeah, the only thing that is still needs to be resolved before you move into this exercise with the pilots is the point 2 of this agenda of today, which is whether or not we include questions on COVID, but we can discuss that when we get to that agenda. But once we have agreed that, and I don't know whether it needs to be coming back in the coordinators meeting, Dr. Reginald needs to decide that. But once that is done, then you are ready to go, I think, on these consultations with facilities.
Okay, bro. Yeah, got it. Then, yeah, that's all our discussion about the health facilities communication. I think we will move to the next agenda, Prof. It is about the preparation of, the proposal to add data points and also the dashboard about COVID-19.
Yeah. Yeah, let me take that.
So, yeah.
And I hope in any case, Professor Francesca and Dr. Reginald are you hearing? Prof. Francesca?
Yes, Prof.
Good, thanks. So this comes from my conversation with Dr. Katie last week. And she said something that had been in the back of my mind, but I had been thinking we're doing already such complicated things. So I pushed it away. But then in the conversation, I thought that actually what she said was making sense. And that is that she said, why don't you include a number of data points on COVID, like the patient, has the patient been, have the testing of patients, the admission of patients with COVID, the death of, and the, how do you say that? Recuperation of recovery. Thank you, Putu. Recovery of COVID. And I actually think it makes sense in the sense that this is also something that that Margot, and you know, that is the kind of information that they would be very keen on. One of the reasons why I was always hesitant, and that is why I would like to discuss it actually in the coordinators meeting also, is I have always wanted to not go to something that is initially sensitive, because I think that if we already do the data visiting in non-sensitive areas, we have already made big progress in our research. So I have not made up my mind at all, but I thought that maybe what we can do is in the consultation with the 3 or the 4 pilot health facilities to include it, and then to see if it comes up, if it flies up as sensitive. If it does, then we can take it back to the coordinators meeting. If it doesn't, then we can set it out to all the 84 health facilities and see what they come back with. What is your view, Dr. Reginald? Maybe first from the what you would think from the country coordinator's perspective.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. I think it's a very valid point because our initial project was to look at COVID data in comparison to what we had lost during Ebola. So we don't want to lose that out. But what you suggest is very important, that we discuss with for example, now I would discuss with Cambry, which is part of our pilot team or hospital. Then through them, we can now see whether they suggest is sensitive or is data that can be aggregated for future study. That's how I would see it, Professor. Thank you.
Yeah, and of course the conditions would be still entirely the same. The data is from the health facility only for the use of the health facility, the analytics of the health facility, and only when there is access agreement could it be used in some shape or form. That is still to be decided then as well for aggregation. So the conditions remain the same as on any other data points, obviously.
Yes, because for Kenya Medical Research Institute, they give statistics to the Kenya government every day at 3 o'clock. They give the COVID data information across the country. So they're the right group to advise us which data is sensitive and what they're looking for. But what they share is aggregate data with the Ministry of Health. So the Cabinet Secretary then reads the statement from Cambry every day at 3 o'clock.
Right, yeah. Okay, and then Prof. Francesca, how do you see it?
Yes, Prof. I think it's an excellent point, something to consider, at least for the countries. Well, we know everyone is sensitive about COVID, but not all the health facilities handle COVID cases. So we should bear that in mind. COVID, usually they're handled by infectious disease hospitals, which are not primarily part of the clinics that we are considering, at least not in all the countries. So we should bear that in mind. If we are talking to a clinic who really is not handling COVID cases, is it really necessary? Maybe not. But if we look at those who are handling COVID cases, then we should take up discussion with them, sound them out and see how they feel about it. It's going to be anonymized anyway, so.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be anonymized. I don't think that the purpose at this point would be to have representativity. Then we would really need to put in the national centers or whatever, which would be possible, but it has not been our priority. But I think more to see what we pick up, especially also from the more remote health facilities, in terms of what may only appear there as COVID, but may not appear necessarily in the national data. That could be interesting to see. But maybe I can ask a few other people who have a bit more view on the remote facilities, like, I don't know, Mariam Basaja or Getjan. What is your view on this question? Do you have a view on this?
Well, so basically, when it comes to COVID, specifically in Uganda, the COVID patients are usually sent to the Infectious Diseases Institute in Entebbe. So KU actually does not have any COVID cases at the moment. So I think we actually, like Prof. Francisca mentioned, we actually need to put that in consideration because not all facilities do handle COVID patients, especially in Uganda. Everyone is basically sent to one location, and getting access to that data from that institute is very complicated as well. So
maybe it really does require a country coordinators meeting. I see that many are here. Jamal is here, Dr. Bondimu. I'm just concerned that it may take up too much of the time of this meeting. Dr. Reginald, what is your proposal? If we could have another time tomorrow, it could be possible to meet. It's just the afternoon time that's really difficult for me.
It's a good question to explore, because as Professor Francesca said, maybe different situations would require different approaches. But then it's also good to learn and understand what is behind all this facet. So I would say that we can bring it in the coordinators meeting to see how we move forward on it. Thank you.
Can you propose a time then for tomorrow and check with Dr. Bondimu, Jamal? I mean, maybe ask everybody to see if that time is going to be feasible.
Yes, we'll check. I will check with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Putu, this point may also still have some consequences for the dashboard. And there is an update at point 6, but I don't see Oluwole here. But maybe I can ask at this point, if you allow me, Putu, to Professor Francesca. Francesca, we have the dashboard at the moment basically prepared for the purpose of consultation with the health facilities so that they have a demo to talk to. If COVID would be included, which we have not decided yet, then that would also have to be adapted. And I don't think that would be a lot of work, if I'm right. But one question that I still have, Francesca, is on the dashboard, once we have clarity about the data points that the individual health facilities choose for their individual dashboards, is there an engineering, a designing strategy how that will be done for the 84 facilities at that point? Do you have insight in that, Prof? I don't. Prof. Francesca?
Yes, hello, Prof. Sorry, I stepped away for a moment. I'm sorry. What was it? Yes, please.
My question is the dashboard. Once the data points for all of the 84 facilities are available, this is what Putu is working on, then there have to be these basically individually designed dashboards that take the data from the localized CEDAR. That back end, is that at this point available? What is the state of the art of that back end?
Oluwole is working on that. I believe he made a presentation. I've been trying to chat with him, but Oluwole is not on the call.
But you can maybe pick it up with him and then...
Yes,
yeah.
I'll pick it up with him and update you.
Yeah. Oh, okay, and also maybe we can have a discussion, because I think Oluwole is basically working on it together with one of the colleagues in KIU. So does he want to take the whole responsibility for that, also for the tailor making for the 84 facilities? What is his view on that? Would be good, Francesca, to understand how he sees that work being done.
I think I can answer that to a certain extent. What we are going to have is to have a back end. For one back end will work for everyone. It's just a question of now selecting the data to be displayed. We're not going to make 84 backends for the 84 facilities. It's going to be one VODAN backend, but then for the Camry, it could be they want to see only this, they want to visualize this particular data, and then that will be enabled for them. And then for IBBUL clinic, they want to see a different kind of data that will also be enabled for them.
Okay, that is fine. That makes a lot of sense. So you disable or you would enable certain. Yeah, that makes sense. But it is also clear that the data that dashboard takes from is only in the facility, right? So that is,
yes.
It's not cloud-based, right?
No, it's not cloud-based. No, it's not cloud-based.
No, okay.
So that makes it easy because for each facility will install the dashboard application, and then at the facility level, they decide on what data to display.
Yeah, okay. So that basically means that Putu maximizes all the data points that within reason, any facility wants. And that is what we will facilitate if that is possible. And then it basically has an enabling yes, no button for that particular data point. That is how you design it.
Okay, Prof.
Right? I understood it correctly?
Yes, yes. So the point is, it's at the level of the clinic, at the level of the health facility that they decide on data they want to display. The data is resident there. The dashboard is installed for them. And then there's, of course, the public dashboard that will have a public IP, which anybody can see. VODAN Africa has 84 health facilities. There is one in this address, there is one in this place, there is one in that place. Those are public information.
No.
But for analytics information, it is at the level of the clinic that they decide. Yes.
Yeah, so the dashboards are the level of the clinic. Only the aggregate across VODAN that can be seen in the facilities.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and not even public. I don't even think that is public. I think that is within the VODAN community.
Within VODAN, okay, okay.
Yeah, but what I was saying in terms of a workflow for us, it means that basically Putu and team collect all the data points that the health facilities are interested in for their own analytics. And that can be a menu that is included in the data dashboard for the health facilities. And then they can choose from that menu which one they enable. That is basically the workflow then.
Yes, yes.
All right. I think that's enough on the dashboards, Putu. Thanks for that discussion.
Okay, thanks, Prof. I think I will move to the next agenda. It is about templates and vocabularies. Then Alia will follow with the test in CEDAR Cloud demonstration. So the floor is yours, Alia.
Hi, everyone. So thank you, Putu. So basically on the templates and vocabularies, we have all the templates and vocabularies in place, except I haven't received yet the Nigerian template, OPD. So I'm still expecting it. And then yesterday I have received OPD template from Kenya, which is the new one. So it's being processed right now. And also the vocabularies according to the templates. So basically that's it regarding the templates and vocabularies. So I think I can move forward to the query itself. So let me share my screen. So basically this is written in Python, so it might look too technical, but I'm going to explain just very brief the logic of this query. So basically, we are working towards two goals. The first one is retrieving data from the certain template. For instance, we have here the Tanzanian cause of death. And then, for instance, we have 3 metadata instances generated. So basically, these are mock data. And so obtaining this mock data and also content is the aim. And then the second level query is going to be on the countries level. So basically mock data generated by like the templates generated from the templates that we already created, and then making summary from that. So in here, so we have connected to the CEDAR. So using so specific the template ID that is being given in here for the Tanzania cause of deaths. And then using API key, this is my API key CEDAR, and then sending the request to CEDAR. And this is basically, it might look too much technical, but it's just receiving the content. And if you can see here, so we see the 3 instances. So basically it already provides 3 instances, which means that it has all the content within these 3 instances. So if we just print out all the instances, so for instance, we can see, so these are all mock data. So like you see the JSON key and values like of this data, like location, district, health facility name. So for instance, it's given in here as we created in vocabulary, and also the name of the health facility. So and the other details of the medical form. So this is on the level of the certain template. And now I'm currently still on the, I'm still working on the creating mock data for the other templates and retrieving the summary from the all those templates. So I hope that by the next Monday it will be ready and I can show the more clear version. Yeah.
That is really nice, Aliyah. That's wonderful. So the idea here is that we are testing the queries first in the CEDAR environment. And then, of course, the next one will be to do the same test across the pilot facilities. So now we start to get some idea of what you can do with the data through the querying of this machine readable data. So this is excellent, Aliyah. Well done. Great.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I think that's it, Putu. So I can hand over to you back. Yeah.
Aliyah, just a question on the technology. I see a lot of domains being called and so on. So there's a lot of querying all around the globe. Have you had any experience with latencies and timing out of requests? Because we are really using big distances here, isn't it? There's large latencies involved. Have you had any experience with that?
No, it was like just in seconds. I mean, like I could say I just pressed the request button and that it returned me the content. So yeah.
That is between Kazakhstan and San Francisco.
Yeah.
Aliyah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is one question from Susan. Any updates on the requirements for the data steward certification?
So not today. So probably we'll update on that by the next week, Tuesday.
Thank you for the question, Susan. It's a really, really important question, and we really need to work on it. So keep asking, because we have to find the time to work on it. But this week, Aliyah had prioritized this test, which is really important because we can't really move forward if we haven't tested the basic principle.
Okay.
But we will. We'll prioritize it, Susan.
Okay, is there any questions before we move to the next agenda? Okay, if it's not, so I will move to the next agenda. Thanks, Aliyah. It is an excellent work from you. And we will move to the next agenda. It is CEDAR deployment from Orzas. Orzas, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Puto. Hello, everyone. Regarding the CEDAR deployment, now we have two CEDAR points that are running. It's from my side and from Nambobi as well. And also with the, Ali already showed the query that she did for general CEDAR, general CEDAR facility. So we're going to do the same thing in the for localized version of the CEDAR point. So as the next step after this meeting, we're going to have meeting with the Nambobi to make this query, try to test it.
Oh, nice. So we'll have an update next week, Oljas, of that.
Yeah, I believe so.
Ah, beautiful, wonderful, great.
Okay, thanks, Orzas. I hope we have a good result next week from you. And let's move to the next agenda. It is from Nurullah. Is Nurullah here?
I don't think so, but Mariam might be. I don't know, Mariam. We are very unfair to Mariam saying that she was on holiday because she really wasn't. But she was chasing a new home like Jamal. They have both now moved to Amsterdam, in fact. So Mariam, I don't know, have you been able to be in touch with Noor?
Hi. Yes, actually. Well, the current update is that the algorithm is currently able to take metadata that is created based on a given template, and then it sends the data into the DHIS2 demo system, because we basically do not have access to the actual DHIS2 instances that are being used in the facilities. So, however, the biggest concern right now and the limitation is the authorization, mainly because each facility has a different CEDAR account, a different DHIS2 account, and the program basically needs to have access to this data. And for this issue, we were actually still discussing about it. And during the meeting with John yesterday, he actually suggested adding an API key, which would basically adding an API key, and this would probably raise security issue, but he wasn't really certain. And then he also mentioned that the other way would probably be for the locally installed CEDAR system. It would probably be creating a service that would be an intermediate between the CEDAR system and the DHIS2, so that there is no direct link between the two systems. That way it's safer. So we're actually still discussing this. It's still a work in progress, but yeah, that's the main update.
That is really good, Mariam. I think that sounds like really good progress and good options. And as long as that component is moving, I think it is fine. It really demonstrates that we have the whole, that all the requirements, that we are not giving any extra work or duplication to the clerks, that we are taking that seriously, and that is possible. I think that is what is being worked on here. So this is really, really good work. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, thanks, Mariam, for your update. And we will move to the next agenda. It is update component or procedure for backup of the data. Who will update this, Professor Miriam? Is it Gerjan?
Yeah.
Is it Dr. Gerjan? Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Gerjan, you can go ahead.
Excuse me, on which subject do I update? I'm a bit lost.
Oh, it's about update component or procedure for backup of the data.
All right, yes, sorry about that. I talked with Alaya this morning. We talked extensively. This is something that I plan to do with Dr. Mahanhibi. Lots of experience. And so we have taken the action point up and I discussed it with Alaya. I promised to have it ready in 2 weeks' time, but most probably we can do it earlier.
That is very chic. 2 weeks. Perfect. Excellent. Thanks for that. And Alia also, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Gerjan. And now we are moving to the next agenda. It is update of the country coordinators meeting from Dr. Reginald. Dr. Reginald, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Putu, and thank you, everyone. The work of country coordinators is to see that this project is implemented. So we follow up with the questions that are raised by Putu, Alia, Mariam, Rudwan, all that team. So the 3 points have come out of our meetings. One of them has been the analysis of health facilities to be in line with local requirements, which Putu is doing. The nature of a health facility, if the private or public, what are they doing? How do we relate the local health facilities with the policy on GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation? Do they even understand what that means? Then at the country level, we ask this question. After this exercise is done, who should keep the data? Minister of Health or any other entity? Who should be the controller of data? Is it the director of the hospital or the director of like Nairobi Metropolitan? Then the data protection, what's be the role of VODAN in this whole exercise? Can VODAN really control hospital and local data, or VODAN can be the platform that makes sure that they can influence the thinking and the protection of data locally, that nobody can snatch this data from the local facility. So VODAN becomes the platform, but also advisor. Then the second point was the dashboard discussion. I think that one is ongoing very well. The key question was data reading across health facilities. How do we go about that? We're already working on that. Make sure that every country coordinator and the teams involved are up to date. And then the last one, of course, was the trial, to see that we pick 3 health facilities, which Putu has already mentioned, for the trial. But then that does not mean that we don't prepare all the other facilities to be ready for the deployment. So those are the 3 areas, and we continue meeting. We hope we can meet tomorrow or we pick another time. Thank you very much, Putu.
Maybe if I can just add something to that, Putu, that's an excellent summary of Dr. Reginald. So there the discussion is really how we refer to different roles so that there are the appropriate checks and balances and that the responsibilities are clear. And you, Putu, you have used names of GDPR because GDPR is quite good in identifying roles. But there might also be a case to make our own names from VODAN Africa with the emphasis on Africa, maybe Africa, Asia, but we don't need to use the European names. So maybe we should find the equivalents that sit better with VODAN Africa and therefore are better understood. But the thinking there is that the data processor is the person who types in the data clerk, the person who's working on the analytics and so on. So they do something with the data. They do that under the authority of someone, and that is the data controller. That is the data controller that relates to particular data in a particular place, in a particular set. So in a hospital, it would normally be the director or somebody assigned by the director to do that. And that is the person who is responsible for what should be done with the data. Whereas the data processor is the one who just does it, who carries it out. And then you have the some role like a protection officer. And I think that in the context of VODAN Africa, we as VODAN Africa have a role to play, because we are proposing a certain procedure with a certain software and so on. So we need to make sure that that's what we promise, that the data do not leave the facility, that they are owned by the facility and so on, that quality is guaranteed. Maybe it's the country coordinator in the VODAN context. And then the data authority is really, as Reginald puts it, the ultimate responsible authority for this data. So this can be the Ministry of Health in Somalia, for instance, or maybe the Metropolitan Health Facility in the case of Nairobi. So that can also differ from one place to the other place. So that is what we are trying to figure out. Is a little bit semantic, this discussion, but it's very important when it comes to something goes wrong. And now, where does it go wrong? Or if it goes right, how do we ensure that everybody in that process does the right thing? So maybe we need to take it back sometime to also see if we can put more African contextualized names to it. I don't know if a data controller is really very easy. If you go to the health facility and ask who is the data controller, I think maybe people really don't understand that term. So that is still something that we can figure out if we can communicate that better. It's maybe something for Obina to look at.
Hi, Prof. Do you want Obina to speak something?
Sure, of course, if Obina wants to.
Yeah, Obina, you can go ahead if you want to.
He has already responded. All right.
Oh yeah,
so,
in the chat.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah, so we'll pick that up. Then shall I go to the special issue then? I think is the next one, if I'm right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so
Right.
on the special issue, I can say that is going very well now. We have all of the reviews of the second reviewer and the first reviewer. The reviews are very well done. It's very, very good work. All of it is being sent, so all the corresponding authors should be now receiving this with the instructions of what to do next. I have also been going through all of the articles, and I really think that, yeah, we should really be very proud. It's going to be very, very interesting. And now I hope that it will go fast. If the corresponding authors take 1 week, then after that, really, it is the last checks and the last pieces of information that are going to have to be exchanged. And then everything will be sent to Feng Hong. And then basically, certainly before the end of the year, way before the end of the year, you should be starting to receive all of them in print. So we're doing very well now on the special issue. And thanks for all of the fantastic work that was done on it. Really, really good. And then for, if there are no questions on that, then for any other business, maybe I can ask Eric to give a short, Eric Flickenshield, to give a short update. We had a meeting in the Netherlands of Health Array. We also had a meeting on the LUMC Data Competence Center and so on. Eric, do you want to brief a little bit on the work that's done in LUMC?
Sorry, I had to mute myself. To myself. But yes, thank you for this. Yeah, we are in exciting times because we are now connecting to national programs like HealthRI. So we have now appointed strategic and tactic connection points. For instance, as Barend Mons and me, that we will look into it and coordinate things. We will start up new projects that can contribute to VODAN. But what I'm doing now is looking into the high architectural level of what kinds of things do you need if you want to start up a verification project. And yeah, on the first hand, you will need a verification workspace. And in case of data that is very confidential, it must be trusted. So you will need a further research environment. And on the other side, you will need a dashboard workspace. And that is habited by, of course, researchers. And the first one, the verification workspace, is inhabited by data stewards. And in the middle is the data visiting orchestration architecture, where we are working at. I think what I can mention now is we try to implement new technology in the LMC called Vantage 6. It's a data visiting station that is developed by the National Cancer Center of the Netherlands. And we are now preparing a project for within the NEMC for palliative care. But as soon as we have implemented this, it can be reused for other projects. So hopefully we can now expand to an access control data visiting station. And so this is the exciting news we are working at the coming months. And then we can work on, of course, the red fair principles to see how we can make a fair implementation profile of this. So this is well, very briefly what we're doing. Oh, I forget one thing. We are now trying to establish a data stewardship. So we are establishing an NEMC data competence center that is connected internationally to, for instance, rare diseases on a European level, but also with VODAN, of course, on a global level, and with the implementation networks of GoFair around the world, and of course the national connection to HealthRI. So these are really things we have to do in parallel. We have to build up the expertise teams within the data competence centers, and we will start up new projects within the LMC. Many to mention, not many time now to elaborate on it, but I think 5 or 6 fair projects will be launched or continued the coming period. I can't hear you, Miriam.
I was doing the same. Thanks, Eric. That is that's all really fantastic updates. And the last thing on updates is that in the field labs of LIACS, where Rudwan and Mariam and Yelin and Alia are assisting, we have proposed many field labs also relating to VODAN Africa, and the selection is being made tonight. So I'll be coming back to many of you on the parts where the students can also be of assistance to the different processes to bring the whole architecture together. So that is any other business from my side. Over to you, Putu. And I see Professor Francesca maybe wants to say something.
No, Prof. No, nothing from me, actually, just to say that I'm happy to see everyone and to also thank Eric for joining us today, and thank everyone for all the wonderful work they have done so far.
Okay, thanks, Professor Francisca, and thanks for your update, Eric. And we discussed a lot of things in an hour, and we are on the right track. So thanks everyone. It's an honor to organize this meeting, and as always, the video recording will be uploaded in the WhatsApp group and also in YouTube, and will be available this week. And see you next week on the VODAN Africa meeting. Bye.
Thank you, Putu.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.